On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
You got to make sure that you have the right attitude no matter what. Wake up, you get a phone call. You can't let that ruin your day. You got to change it, flip it. Nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to see you hurting. Nobody's going to see you tired. Nobody's going to see you this. Nobody's going to see what you go through. So you have to have that right attitude and make sure you make the best of it.
You are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolfe, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in. Hey everybody, Chaz Wolfe. I'm back to you this week. My guest, Kenneth Price, comes from the restaurant space, but that is not where he has landed fully. He's actually crossed over into the trade space now, and I want you to hear his mindset around doing millions in the business and starting a brand new business from scratch and how he has gone about that. I think that there's a ton of nuggets in here, and another young guy that I brought to you that is just figuring things out, had a large amount of success along the way. But before that, he is super detailed in just the grit that it takes, or that it took him to get to the place that he finally struck gold and started getting some success. So I can't wait for you to hear this one. Grab that pen and paper. Here it comes. All right, everybody. Chaz Wolfe. I'm your host, Gathering the Kings, and we're back. We got Kenneth Price on the stage today. Dude, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Good. Awesome, man. Can't be better. Been excited for this for the past few weeks since I heard from you.
Yeah, man.
Been anxious and couldn't wait for it to come. So now it's here.
Well, I'm excited to have your story. You're a young guy, and you've had success in a couple of different industries, and so I'm excited to draw upon your experiences. But first, for the listener, why don't you tell them what kind of businesses that you have right now and where you're headed?
I own some restaurants, pizza restaurants, called Pizza Guys. I own an HVAC company. We're headed. We're growing right now. Kind of the restaurant, I'm kind of keeping stable, but the HVAC is kind of where I'm putting all my might to and my focus on, because we're expanding into California and growing into California now. So
that's exciting. So multiple industries, and so we'll have lots to talk about as far as like your growth and how you got there. But for the purposes of right now, you were already a 7-figure business owner, quote unquote, as we like to say here in Gathering the Kings, before you started your HVAC company. So tell me, what motivates you at this point to keep pushing? Why not just hang on to the restaurants, be a top performer? Why press into a brand new industry, brand new business all over again?
When you first start, you think of things a certain way, and then as you get into it, your thought process changes. The levels to it changes. So, it's just, life is so much better. You have companies running. When you're bigger in a company, the bigger your company is, the easier it is to manage, the easier it is to handle. When your employees are making, $15 an hour, starting wage, versus in the bigger fields, we have employees making $150,000 a year.
Right.
That's, it's easier to, those people, they work, especially those guys making $150,000, they work, and it makes it so much easier,
Yeah, just from a labor perspective, obviously that's a huge part of building a business. But then even just as you're breaking down just the different industries that you're in, and restaurants and franchises like you and I are both in, and then of course service world, it's just a totally different animal. So definitely want to pick your brain at some of that. But what I'm hearing you say is that you're not quite satisfied, that you want more.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on another house on the beach, a couple more vacations, Yeah, that's.
What do you think that stems from for you? Like, did that come from like your parents showing you that you could always get more, or did that come from a different place in your way you were raised? Like, where does that come from?
Not necessarily. I grew up pretty much raised myself. Brothers and sisters around. Didn't have a dad. So I grew up from nothing in a small town in Guam. So we, same thing. It was hard life. What are we gonna eat? Power's gonna be on this month. It's not gonna be on next month. Live in a tent for 2 years when the storm blew our house down.
Wow.
Yeah. So grew up in a real tough life. And I think the great thing about it was there was no electronics. We didn't own any cell phone the entire time. We had bikes, we had trees, we had rocks, we had all kinds of stuff that we played with. That kind of helped develop who I am today.
Of course.
Yeah. So that was a big thing on it. No real influence till later in life, to the meeting some people that are that were in my position when I was a nobody before.
Yeah. So talk about that. Like, obviously I'm sitting over here curious, like, how do you go from living in a tent in Guam with wondering whether there's going to be power or food to multiple seven figures in in multiple industries? Like, and you're a young guy, like, and you say, I want more, like they're obviously worlds apart from each other. Give us just a little bit of a snapshot of like, how did you get introduced to business? Like, why are you an entrepreneur today?
When I first came out to America, I came at 18. Parents sent me out here with just whatever money else they had left to send me out here to play some sports and go to school.
Wow.
And, it was
that like a lifelong dream of theirs to like let's muster up enough energy and money to get our son to go to the United States at 18?
Well, it was something, my stepdad at the time, when he came to our life about 16, 17, it was a good choice for us. But I wanted to come out and actually spend time with my brother. So I never really, I haven't seen my brother in 10, 12 years. And I always looked up to him. He was out here enjoying life, great guy. And Mike was, he was an awesome person. So I wanted to spend time with him. And then he actually worked at a pizza place. So I hopped on, I worked on the pizza place, started doing flyers, door hangers, because I didn't have a car. Stayed with him and his girlfriend in his girlfriend's parents' house.
Wow.
So, and then, started doing flyers, door hangers in a car, just kept looking at everybody. And the whole time I was here, I felt different, I was like, I was thinking different. When I would talk, people would think I was crazy. They wouldn't understand me. And, so it was a really tough try to fit in. I tried my best to fit in, but, then, I go down, you start making up some lies to fit in, and it didn't feel right. I started wanting to fit in and all these things, trying to paint a picture of who I am. And it wasn't really who I am. So kind of over the years after, I started working the pizza guys, the owner, who actually is one of my best friends now, I saw his lifestyle. He pulled up in a Porsche. He has different cars. He's a great guy, humble, takes vacations, a family man. Go pick up his daughter and go get ice cream after school. I was like, that seems like a life. I want that. Yeah, I want that. So from that point, that's kind of where, it took off, and saying, okay, hey, I can do this. If he can do it off of pizza, I can do it off of pizza. So
why do you think in that moment, because that moment that you described, I know we've all felt it. And I've probably had employees feel that, about me. I'd hope all those things, those attributes that you said, but at least as far as like, maybe I want that lifestyle, or like, man, how do you, like, he's the owner, like, oh, the owner, they have so much, whatever that thought is, right? That trickles. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that in that moment, how do you, because you have two ways. You can either think, oh, that's his, and I'm not worthy of that, or I'm not good enough, or it's unfair that he has that and I don't. But then the other way is where you went, which was, I see that, I want that, and so I need to emulate that. I need to do what he does. Why do you think you were on that side of the train track of, let me go do what he's done?
I think it's more about attitude. Attitude is the biggest thing you can have as a person, because just like you stated, simple. You can look at it this way, you can look at it this way. You tell me something, I can take it like this. I can take it, you give me criticism, I can take it in a bad way and say you're after me, or I can take it in a good way and say, well, you know what, Chaz, I'm going to learn from it, and I guarantee I'm not going to make that mistake again, and I'm going to be better. And being able to have the right attitude is really part of something that you need to kind of be in the entrepreneur world.
100%.
You got to wake up in the morning, everybody's coming after you, employees are coming after you, everything. So you got to make sure that you have the right attitude no matter what. Wake up, you get a phone call. You can't let that ruin your day. You got to change it, flip it. Nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to see you hurting. Nobody's going to see you tired. Nobody's going to see you this. Nobody's going to see what you go through. So you have to have that right attitude and make sure you make the best of it.
Yeah, man. I think that, the perspective that you're giving is that perspective is everything, right? Like the attitude or perspective that you have on any sort of given situation is going to make or break what happens next. And so for you, what happens next is, you said, it doesn't matter that I'm from another country. It doesn't matter that I didn't have a dad. It doesn't matter that I don't have any training. It doesn't matter that I don't have a Porsche now. It doesn't matter that I don't even have a home. I'm living with my brother in his girlfriend's parents' house. Like all of these things don't matter. I want what you want. And so what'd you do? Like, did you get in his back pocket? Did you go get a loan, buy your first restaurant? Like, tell us the story.
Well, so I got into door hangers, and then from door hangers, I started work for him. Did a little bit of door hangers, half honestly, half not honestly. I was young, but the half that I did kind of came back. So he saw that, so I started doing more. I started working inside the store, saved up, bought a car, became a driver, did flyers, driver. Saw that, hey, I can make some money out of it. Started working like, man, 100 hours, 120 hours every 2 weeks, 130 hours every 2 weeks. I was like, man, I can do something with this. I can keep going. Everybody else wants to call off work and not close and not do this. I'm here. I'll do it. So started working 7 days a week, started making money, and then became a manager in like 6 months. And then, became a store manager in like a year. And then from there, I guess he saw potential. He actually took the time to actually train me and teach me. So we went into he had a store that was failing. He put me in the store. He said, just do as I say. And we'll both do good, right? We'll both come out of it. And I felt, and I felt for the reason, but give me explain it first before I actually say it. So, he said, listen to me and do as I say, and we'll be good. I went in thinking I was a hot shot. I knew it. I knew it all. I got this. He let me go for about a year. I would lose 6,000, 7,000, like 10 grand sometimes, 2 grand, like, so.
A lot of trust.
Yeah. So, and he would just let me run it. And he would be there all the time, training me. Then one day, I finally told him, I was like, hey, what do I got to do? He goes, are you ready? I said, yeah. He goes, shut up and listen and just do. That's what he told me. Yeah. And he goes, are you ready to shut up, listen, and do? I said, yes. He says, okay, do this, this, and this. Go out, put out door hangers, do this, this, and this. Right. I did exactly as he said. In 3 months, we started making money.
Wow.
Yeah. And from there, we kept growing the store. We hit records in the entire corporations. We were number one for like 2.5, 3 years straight. Wow. Breaking records nonstop. And then after about 2 years or so, he had another store that was failing. And so we went out there. We started running a little bit, got the hang of it a little bit. It was, it was a tough location, very tough location. We made a deal. My rent at the time was $1,800. That was my rent, and my wife and my 2 kids, or actually 1 kid at the time, and $1,800 rent. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you $2,500 a month. That's all you're going to get. But you're going to get 50%.
Oh.
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I can't even pay my rent. I can't pay my kids. You know what I mean? I can't do this.
Scarcity.
Literally. So, we started. I took the deal because I believed in him. I believed in him that he would always, be there. Right.
That was the determining factor for you. Like
that was.
Because I'm so scared. I want to take care of my family, but I'll do it anyway because I trust you.
Yeah. So I trusted him, but throughout the years, I've always talked to him about business, always talked to him about, growth and everything and success. And, so at that point I did it. We were failing about 6 months, 7 months, store wouldn't turn around. It's just the location. At this point, everything we were doing, we're doing right. We're running. I mean, you're talking 12% labor at the time. That's,
Right.
Insane, Yeah. I was running day and night. Me, I even had my wife inside the store,
Sure.
We were sleeping. So at the point we couldn't keep up with our bills because we were only making $2,500. So we lost our house, we lost our car, went down to one cell phone, and we started sleeping in the store for about a year. And then we stayed in the store, and that's where me and my wife, we knew we had to do it. There was just no question. We just did it every day and night. And at a certain point, it got pretty tiring for her. So my brother-in-law, her oldest brother, took us in. We were fortunate enough, and no questions asked, took us in, fed us. We couldn't buy milk for our kids. We couldn't buy diapers for our kids. So his brothers, her brothers actually took care of us and bought that, and I lost my car. So her youngest brother actually loaned me his car, and he had to find a ride to work so I could go and do it. So we had a lot of people that were kind of supporting us in between that, when we fell. And then probably about 6 months after that, all of that happened, I was ready to quit. I was, my wife's back home. I'm stuck in there on day and night. I want to give up. I'm done.
Why do you think that you didn't, up until this point? You had so many reasons. You just gave us so many reasons why 98% of the people listening would have been like, F this.
Yeah. I mean, it was done. Arguing, you go into arguing with your wife, your marriage starts messing up, I mean? And then you got to come home. You don't see your kids. You don't have time for this. Your head is nonstop going. You're going crazy. Like, I'm doing so much wrong. I'm doing this wrong, that wrong. I can't do anything right. Yeah. But at that point, I couldn't explain it. At that point, later, it took a few years to kind of realize, I know I got through it, and it was more because I had no choice. My back was against the wall, what I mean? And for some reason, it's just it's just all instinct, and you just kept going and kept going. And it had to be, the, just the opportunity that I never had. And it sticks with me all the time that I want to be able to give my kids a stepping stool, a platform way above me, so they don't ever have to turn the dirt. What I mean? They have that foundation and the walls up already, and they just got to build the roof and go. Yeah. That's kind of one of my biggest things that just keeps me going. Is I want to make sure that they have that platform, that you don't need to start from the bottom. You don't need to do this. All that things about rich kids this, rich kids that. You don't listen to those things. What I mean? I want you to be successful already. I want you to have the opportunity to make your choices. Yeah. Build what you want to do what you want to do, all those things. So that was kind of the biggest thing is giving them that opportunity and that platform above me that I had to build it, and what it takes.
Yeah. I mean, I just so appreciate your vulnerability and sharing the struggle, man. I mean, I don't know. I just said it a couple minutes ago, but I don't know how many out of 100 would have stuck it out. And so do you think that just sheer perseverance is what eventually cracked and the store started doing well? Or was it something tactical that you tried new that just worked, or give us, I mean, the rest of the story there?
It was just, it's hard, it's hard to say. I mean, we've built quite a bit of stores, over the time, probably another 5, so, I mean, it was kind of just one of those locations that just, you just got to keep getting the name out there, and you got to get it in front of them, not a month, not 2 months. You got to get in front of them 2 years showing, right? This is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am. Come and meet me, And, it took a while for the community, and it was Pleasanton, California. So, that market there was pretty, the demographics is a lot different than many other places, Sure. So, so that's kind of, we stuck to the same thing that we knew were, go out, we would give out pizza. I would walk into every business, doesn't matter what. Every business was pizza and introduce myself, I mean, marketing don't get better than that. I'm coming in. Hey, what's up, Chaz? I got pizza for you for lunch. Yeah. You got 5 guys. I got 2 pizzas. Here you go. I'm just coming by to say hi. That's it. And it doesn't get better than that, in the pizza industry. So, we did that nonstop, and it just still didn't. So, we continued it, and we didn't stop because we knew eventually it was gonna. I didn't know it. My buddy did. And I had to listen, shut up and listen. So I just kept going and doing it. And eventually it just popped off, and it was just insane from there. Yeah. I'm glad I did.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, it turned into not just a happy ending with that location, but you guys have built multiple more. And I know you have a huge conglomerate now. And so at some point you thought to yourself, okay, I've given away enough pizza. I want to try to do something different. Was there a different reason for switching, almost doing a 180? I really have no room to talk. I mean, I've got retail franchises, I got real estate, and then I have, strategy groups, so it's like I'm in 3 different places, and it seems odd, but they all coincide together for my purpose. And so if someone doesn't know my purpose, then they maybe be confused on why I'm involved. But for you, transitioning from pizza to home services, like tell us about that transition for yourself.
So, throughout the years, I've always seen people in the restaurant industry just stay in the restaurant industry, and as times are changing, certain restaurants are going to do a lot better than others. Certain restaurants are going to have a lot more challenges than we used to have. It was kind of just keep trying to find something different that I can go bigger. I wanted to go bigger. I wanted some business that I can do $7, $8, $9 million in sales, and have no stopping. I don't want to be focused on doing $2, $3 million in sales. I want $8, $9, $10 million in sales. So I went to my buddy, and, I've always been asking him to, let's partner up. Let's do something good. So, he made a bet that if I can build a business, make it successful, and make it very profitable, then we could go into something together. So, and of course, I was like, "You gonna put the money up?" No, your money. So I had to find
Well, and here's what you're gonna realize along the path is that if you can go do that, then I'm not saying that you won't need him, but the value that he brings might be ancillary. You might have already made contacts along the way. You might, there's all sorts of different values. And so I'm not trying to get you to X-nay him, but if you can go prove it to him, basically you're going to prove it to yourself is what I'm saying.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, he said HVAC. I said, okay, you sure? Yeah. I gave him 30 different businesses. I was like, I want to do automotive. I want to do this. I look at automotive world. I've never seen one person run an automotive shop.
Honestly.
Correctly.
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen one person, a business owner that runs an auto shop, how it should be ran.
Bro, we should do a call out right now that if anybody listening runs an auto shop or knows anybody that actually can prove that they run an auto shop honestly, I'll tell you what, man, I want to meet that guy because you're right. I don't know of anyone personally.
Yeah, I know.
And owning a delivery franchise, we have a lot of auto repairs done in multiple different cities across the state or across the country. And I'll tell you what, still last week we were trying out we've been doing this for 10 years and we were trying out a new auto repair shop last week.
Yeah, that's how we are in our fleet, man. My guys have to take their trucks to different places all the time. They can't even find stuff. And it's like, they make some money already, but they don't know how to run it. I'm like, they might be good people, but business wise, I would never put my money up with them. But that's what I think. I see those things and I'm like, I want to invest in this because I can structure it already. It's there already. I can just go in, fixed a few things, and boom, I'm going to make 10 times more money than than they're making already.
Right.
And he's like, no. He goes, go into HVAC. I was like, okay. So I didn't know anything about HVAC. I didn't know what's the difference between a furnace, an air handler. I know how to switch a button, and that's it. So I was like, okay. So I bought some tools, hopped on YouTube, hopped on some forums, just kept reading, kept watching YouTube. Then finally, a month later, I got everything on. I called my CPA, said I need the business license, get everything together. Called my insurance agent, get me insurance, and get me everything I need to make sure. And at that point, it was a little bit easier to get the business structured, is because everything on everything on the insurance side, I have a pro that handles that. Everything on my accounting side, my bookkeeper side, there's pros and teams that handle that stuff. That make it 10 times easier for you to put your focus on just the business, just your sales, your growth, your company. So that was a big thing in growing the company. And so it was kind of a hard thing to do, because going into a customer's house, I would have to go in, work on it a little bit, go back out, then I would YouTube it, Google it, go back in.
Right.
All right, try this, fix it, boom. And then, I was like, okay, I started getting I had no choice but to get good at it. So I became good like within a month. I started tearing out new units, installing new units, and then I had my cousin with me, and great. I brought him on with me, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made, because he helped get the company to where it's at today. And, we hired another employee because we couldn't handle it. We hired another employee, and every person we hired, we were like, doesn't matter what we pay them. Like, you make $45 an hour. We're like, what can you do? This is what we're going to expect. You got to do this, and you got to do it right. There is no, you show up to a customer's house, it's 100%, So
yeah, I love that.
So that was it. And then we grew from there to where we are here now today.
That's awesome, man. And I remember talking with you offline, just chatting about you watching YouTube videos and Googling different answers and knowing I can only imagine how difficult that must have been. Not the actual task of doing it. I'm sure that was difficult too, but the knowing of that, how to run a business, a very successful and multiple businesses even then. But to dial yourself down for a short period of time to learn a task so that you could then zoom back out, right, and begin the hiring process. And you had mentioned offline, you didn't say it now, but you had mentioned hiring on some folks that like were killers in the industry. They knew what they were doing way better than you, which is what you knew that you needed to do at the beginning. But to even get the ball moving, to get even a little bit of revenue in the door, you had to go learn a new skill set. And you dialed yourself down. Someone who was owning multiple businesses, you dialed yourself down to one little bitty task of learning how to repair and uninstall and reinstall, or whatever those individual service calls were like. But you did that for a short period of time so that then you could then grow, scale, push into the marketplace in a new industry. So my question behind all of that preface is this. Obviously for you, you already had the ability to see high level in a business, in a big business, multiple locations. But for the majority of business owners, they get into that place, right? Whether they had to learn it on Google or YouTube, or maybe they already knew the skill. And so they start their business, their HVAC business, or their online marketing business, or their whatever, fill in the blank. And so they start learning and spending the time like you did. Oh, I don't know how to do it, so I Google it, or I YouTube it. And then they're constantly stuck in this day to day. What they never end up getting to is the zoom out, which is what you knew from the beginning that you needed to do. And you even said, I brought in my cousin, which was great, which allowed me to think a little bit bigger. When then we brought on someone else, And every time we keep thinking, we just thinking, hey, this is the standard. Here's what you're stepping into. You were creating systems really behind all that. You didn't say that, but that's what you were doing. You were creating systems that you could plug people into. And so why do you think it's so difficult for people to get to that place? Which obviously was much easier for you because you had already done it. But if you hadn't been able to, like most people, why did they get stuck there, do you think?
I think it's more about they're thinking, first of all, a lot of people invest in so much other things instead of investing in themselves. That's where you should always start, right? You got to invest in yourself first. Once you invest in yourself first, you got to, they're afraid to pay somebody $45 an hour, $50 an hour. But if this guy can bring me back 10,000 a week, I can pay him $80 an hour. It's not going to matter to me, you know?
Right.
So they're afraid to pay more to be able to get that growth. And in business, I want to focus just mainly on the sales, right? I have other people that can put everything else in line. If I can bring more people through our door and my managers can structure everything else and make the numbers as good as they can, I'll bring the business through the door. Yeah. But to answer that, it's kind of like it depends on the person, is because most of the people, they don't want more.
So true.
And they don't want more. And there's majority of the people that don't want more. And if you don't want more, that's fine, but just don't expect so much. Don't expect this. Don't come after us for more money or anything like this, because you want more money. There's more work to do, more things to do, and there's always more money. But for the people that are listening, for your audience, they want it, right? So now for the people that want it, they don't get to that level is because they get too closed-minded. You have to think that I'm not the best at setting up my company. I'm not the best in insurance. I'm not the best at my service. I'm not the best at install. But if this person is better than me, I'm going to praise him and say, I love you. You're better than me. I want to learn from you. I'm going to take you in and let's go grow this side. If I see that my marketing is sloppy, I'm not doing a great job, sales are slowing down, I'm going to go find me a marketer that knows what he's doing, has a track record, that is, it has the energy I love and the vibe that I love. And I'm going to pay him what he wants to focus on my marketing because he's better than me. So, and then finding individuals all the way. And that's how you grow. You have to have people, because there's many people are better than you at many other things.
Yeah. It's so good. And as an owner, a lot of times an owner operator, because that's what we're talking about, the owner operator, right? And because he's operating at the same time as owning, he gets stuck in the operation as opposed to the owning. And you're right that you got to get out of your own way. I loved how you said though, that finding somebody better than you, not because you want to grow. Yes, that obviously that you're giving us the key on how to grow, but it's because of no ego. That the way that you just described it had everything to do with ego or humility, which is one of the things you mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, is that guy that you wanted to emulate, although he had a bunch and he had lifestyle and he had the car and he had the time to spend with his daughter, you saw him as someone as humble or someone who held things with an open hand. And I think that that's a great perspective, because you can't give something away to someone and genuinely believe that they're better than you if you think that you're better than them.
And it devalues your relationship with them. And you want to give the praise where it is due. And as long as you understand that, many of the other people, I want to get to 100 employees. And if I think I'm better than all of them and have to do it myself and be stuck in the operation, I would never get past 5.
Chance. Yeah.
So take that thing and let them do it. And, they're going to make some mistakes and get with it, teach them and grow together. That's how you do it.
I love it. As you were saying that, it made me think of that it's not even really just the fact that the owner operator isn't good, because most times they are, right? And that's usually the MS. It's like, that's the reason that they fall into that trap, is because they are pretty good. They are maybe the best in their immediate circle. It's not that they're not the best. It's that they just haven't found anybody better yet. And then even if they have found them, they haven't given them the rope to go far enough away in their own way to be able to show that they're better. And those are kind of two different problems. But if you're listening right now, I mean, what Kenneth is breaking down right now is so good. And he probably didn't even know he's doing it. I'm trying to delineate down for you of just the masterful words that he's given to you. But I mean, man, get out of your own way, hire other people. Find people that are better than you, have no ego. What else? What are we missing on this list here that you want to give to them?
Yeah, man. It comes down to take a step back, and just look. If you're doing something over and over and over and over and over,
that's good.
Then, you need to change it, because what you should be doing is something different. Because if I'm just focusing on customer service inside, hire somebody to focus on your customer service. If you're that's focusing right. on marketing, hire somebody to focus on your marketing. And in the beginning, there's a lot of people that can't, but then you got to go, you bring that revenue in, focus on your numbers, crunch your numbers, get it to where you can. Like, I had no choice because my HVAC had to be profitable. I had to do the work. Because I couldn't I had just an X amount of money and I couldn't put more money into it. And I had to do the work to gain some revenue, gain some money, put some away, cut some expenses back, and then go for it. Yeah. And then you can make 5,000 yourself by getting somebody else. They can make you 2,000. Now you're making 7,000. And so on and so on. Next guy's going to make you another 1,000 maybe, and next guy's going to make you another 1,000. The more people you have, the more money you're going to make.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a switch that a lot of people, it's tough to get to when you see a person that you're hiring as an addition to the revenue line and making them own that piece of it. I think it's difficult for every business owner to actually tie it to it, unless they're a literal salesperson. That's pretty easy. But when you're building out your team, whether it's your accountant, whether it's a customer service person, like you said, whether it's a person who's flipping pizzas in the back, depending upon what type of business we're talking about, every individual person should be connected to the revenue line. And the more people you have, generally speaking, there should be more revenue. If not, then there's something either broken or the business can't be scaled anymore.
That's where you get stuck, and that's where it's like you got to make the decision where you run it, make some money, put some things together, and go bigger.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love everything we've talked about here. Real quick before we go to the speed round, do you have any sort of process for making decisions that's just really helped you out as far as how to make good decisions? We've talked a lot about good and bad decisions here in your journey, but any process that you can give to listener on how do you make good decisions?
So how I make good decisions, so I, till this day, I like to feel like I'm really good, right? I know I'm good, right? And I know I'm good, but I got to kick myself back, stay humble a little bit more. And I always ask, so if I'm growing into a certain business or I'm investing into something different, I'm going to go find somebody that's doing it. So if I'm going to go into real estate, hey, Chaz, I need some advice on real estate. I'm going to call you 3 weeks straight. I'm going to learn everything I need to learn from you to say, hey, this is what, by the time I'm done with you for 3 weeks, then I'm going to know, okay, real estate's going to be good. This is where I should put my money into, things like that. So I always call my good friend Abe and, say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this marketing strategy? What do you think about this? I call some other friends and I consult with them and I always get their ideas, get their feedback, but it mainly comes back to, Abe's been a really great friend, a really great mentor to me, and he's been around, he's 65 years old. So he's been around quite some time, a bunch of business, and he's way more high than me. So, he's been through it, he's done it. So taking his advice is kind of where I go, where I make my decisions.
I love it. You got to have that sounding board, and there's lots of ways to get that. I think that you gave several examples there of ways to do that. So I appreciate the practicality of giving that.
Most people, they if you don't have somebody to find, business owners, they're loving, they're caring, they care about their employees. They want to help other people, right? You can't go into business and be very successful. And you see, okay, hey, this guy walked up to that guy and he brushed him off or didn't want to tell him. It's wrong timing. But go walk into a restaurant, a nice restaurant, find the owner and ask him a few questions. He'll answer it. And go do that. If you need to learn about marketing, go say, hey, is the owner here? Okay, can I speak to you for a few minutes? I just had a few questions. Ask him I'm a business owner. I'm trying to grow my stuff. I just, I'm in the same industry as you, not too far away. he'll give you the advice. I guarantee you, because you walk into my business and you say, I own a pizza place on the next county over, and I'm just trying to get some advice because I'm struggling all these things. Yeah. What do I got to do? Or what do you think? What do you suggest? I'll tell you,
Yeah. Yeah, and, exactly.
And getting the information is as easy as that. You just have to do the work.
Yeah, I love, well, really what you're breaking down is initiative. Like, if you want more genuinely, then you'll figure out creative ways to find the information that you need. And it can go as far as making cold calls like you've described and finding people who you don't know yet, all the way to paying to be in a room at a conference or within a mastermind or whatever, and obviously that's in essence what
that conference is
a lot of folks to do.
Go into conference with people that know it. Go into conference that people are trying to teach you about it. Because I just sent all my employees to the Las Vegas convention. I didn't go. I had other things to take care of, but I sent all of them, and I said, "You guys go, take notes, put everything together." They came back with a whole bunch of stuff, different mindset. They learned a lot, and it was worth it.
Ready to roll. Exactly. I love that. Pouring in. I don't know of a moment that I've poured in that way, investing into your people where it doesn't pour right back out. So we're going to transition to the speed round here. I got some answers or some questions. I want you to give some strong one-word answers. I might dig in for more, but give me those strong, quick answers. First question is this: Kenneth, if you could only pick one metric in all of your businesses, HVAC, pizza, whatever, only one metric to track, what would it be?
That's a hard one, it comes down to, because there's so many small things that is more important than the bigger things, right? Than just one big thing. But overall, one metric that I would have to track in terms of growing the company, in terms of sales, in terms of in what context, it depends on which we're growing. Overall, if we're talking in terms of just making sure the business is running and growing, it would have to be number of people you meet,
Interesting.
I think, the more people you meet, the greater it is. So, you're networking, I think.
Yeah. Interesting.
If I meet 50,000, if I go out and put out 50,000 flyers, right, versus if I go out and I put out 5,000 flyers, only 5,000 people I'm going to meet and see me. Out of that 5,000, I'm going to get 5. Out of that 50,000, I'm going to get 500.
Right.
Right.
So and that's a big difference in a business, 5 to 500 for sure.
Right. So I think whether you can reach, whether you can reach 30 people or 100 people, you have more chances of bringing more people consistently to your door and growing your.
Yeah, I love that. In essence, lead generation onto the acquisition process in your business. But what you just said, it really actually, it stemmed something that I hadn't really talked about much in any of my shows, but I want to bring it up, see what you think about it. I'm going to kind of do a little left turn here, but in essence, the number of people that you're talking about on the front end, whether it's views, whether it's downloads, whether it's, eyeballs that see your billboard, whatever, it gives you a perspective of how many more. So just that quick glance was 5 to 500. And what it made me think of in my mind was that so many small business owners don't realize what it takes literally to get to $1 million, to get to 7 figures. And I bet you if they did the math backwards on what their sales would shake out to from $1 million, it's probably not that many customers, right? So like in your HVAC business, you have your average install and your average repair. And then generally speaking, from your sales, how much is repair and how much is install. Yep. And so just by knowing those metrics, you should be able to go, okay, for example purposes, we have on average half and half repair, half install. Our average install is, let's just say for easy math, 5,000, and our average install is 500. Okay, so if I divide $1 million by half, that's 500,000. So I take 500,000 divided by my average 5,000 install. That means I need 100 installs over the next 12 months. Divide that 100 out by a year. That's 8.33 installs a month. That's it. That's 8 people. It's 8. It's not 800. It's not 8 million. It's 8. Yeah. On the service side, you got 500,000 divided by a $500 ticket, which means you need 1,000 clients. Divide that out by 12 months. You have 83 clients over the course of the month. If you want to divide that out by, let's just call it 4 weeks on average, that's 20 clients, 5 clients a day.
That's it.
That's nothing.
That's it. Can you now it goes back to it. Can you go out and talk to 20 people a day?
Now you know what you're after, to your point, right? And so if you can just go shake more hands, you have a better chance at the 500 people coming in for your pizza. But I think knowing the number makes it that much more real. Because when you hear, like when I just did that math, I know you've probably done the math because you're a sharp guy. But me doing that math for you on your HVAC, you need 4 or 5 service clients a day. Yeah. And you need
8.5,
2 installs a week. That's it. Like, bro, I mean, that's super easy.
Yeah, that's it. And it comes down to it. And you break it down to it. And you need 8-10 people a week. That's it. That's all you need.
That's it. That's it. And so now you can go creative, go ham on your marketing, whether it's Facebook ads or you're connecting with people organically on social media, or you're just door knocking. You're just going door to door in a neighborhood, or you're going door to door in a shopping complex. Like, I need 8 people this month. 8 people. That's it. I need to do 8 installs this month. I'm going to do $500K. That's it. That's all I need to know.
And if you don't know what to do, there's so much, take a course, take something. People are, there's so much knowledge out there. There's so much things that you can sign up for that people can understand, like what to do if you don't know it, Yeah. I'm fortunate enough to have somebody, but, I see it all day. There's people out there that'll give you that information. Go to classes, go sign up for conferences, go to this thing, that thing. And you can find out different things and try a little bit and see what works for you and your business and things like that. Yep. I'm old fashioned because that's all I've been doing. I'll go and I'll print 1,000 flyers. I'll take some tape and I'll tape it to every door around. I guarantee it. It's
working.
I'll still do it till this day. And I won't do anything else different than that,
Exactly.
Because,
exactly.
And people just don't like it because they don't like going to somebody's house. I'm like, hey,
right.
Even if 10 of them tell me to get out, go away, it doesn't matter. 10 of them call me crazy or this and that. I'm still going to show up to everybody else. You can't change your system because one customer complains or anything else.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's such a cool, now knowing your story, so the listener can hear you at the end talk about, give away thousands of flyers or pizzas for that matter, whatever it is, like go shake thousands of hands or hand out thousands of pieces of material digitally or in person, and people will come through the door. But it's a whole lot easier to hear that and think, oh yeah, that I know, but like, I don't know how that applies to me. But now hearing your story before all that, I know now in that moment that it was about to break for you. Like literally everything had pretty much broken. And the only thing that you held on to was, I got to shake some more hands. I got to shake some more hands. I got to hand out some more flyers. I need more people to know about my pizza. I need more people to know about my pizza. And you held on to that enough so to where eventually the momentum picked up and not just for that location, but now multiple locations. And now not just that business, but now multiple businesses, and the same principles that you've learned over here from this guy now apply in industries across the nation, which is what I love of getting together with entrepreneurs, is because what in pizza works for me in real estate, or what I know in franchising works for you in HVAC, and so forth and so on. You know what I mean?
It makes it easier because everybody's tried some different things, some different methods, and some people have been in your shoes, tried the same thing you've tried, and somebody's already done it.
That's right.
So it comes down to there's no formula. I think. Like go back to there's no formula.
You just need a bunch of people. That's all. That's the formula.
That's it. You just need a bunch of people. Go get you a crew and a group that already been through it and is a step above you, or that wants to keep growing and learning together. And you guys will figure it out.
That's right. I love it. Okay, man. We have come to our time, but dude, this has been just absolutely incredible. If someone wants to connect with you because they just have enjoyed your story, they want to find you on social or your website, how can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on too much social media, but you did
say you were old school.
Yeah, K Price 671 is my Instagram.
Okay.
I'm usually on. That's probably the only thing I'm really on.
Find him on the gram.
Yeah, K Price 671. Hopefully eventually I can get into it a little bit more as I grow on. I start So this is going to be, I'm going to say it now, this is going to be the start of my network.
There you
right
go.
Here.
There
so
you
this
go.
is where I'm going to start really, really growing and start being more into the, start getting more people to see who I am now versus, you know, out here. So
I love that part of the story. I mean, in all seriousness, it's the brand Gathering the Kings is partially why it exists, is because we want to help people get to that place where they're getting out of the warrior stage into the king stage. And so that's what you've done here today. You've helped a lot of people with that. But then even that, what you just said, part of stepping into kingship is realizing the influence that you have and realizing that the people around you that are counting on you and the people that need you to tell your story and or offer your product or whatever it is, it's no longer just about the X's and O's of the business. It's about the influence that comes along with and all the other angles, and telling your story is a part of it. So thank you for being kingly here today with us on Gathering the Kings. But
I appreciate it. Yeah. So you got there was a book by Patrick McDavid. It's called Doing the Impossible.
Okay.
That was a book I read over and over and over.
There you go.
And kind of like, that was like seeing that guy and seeing where he's at today. I'm like,
yep.
I want him in our network,
That's
One
right.
day I'm going to meet him. One day I'm going to meet him. I'm going to sit down at the table across from him and be like, I used to watch your videos, man.
That's right, man. I love that. We appreciate you being on the show here today. Of course, we wish you absolutely nothing but the best of I was going to say luck, but you won't need luck. The best of success in all of your businesses and in your family. The fact that you're crushing it for them, I'm sure has to feel good. So thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Awesome, Chaz. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to Gathering the Kings. We hope you got a ton of value today and learned a thing or two about taking your business to 7 figures and beyond. If you desire more and want a community around you to help you get there, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. That's gatheringthekings.com. And I want you to apply for our next Becoming a King 90-day intensive. We are extremely exclusive by nature as a group. What that means is that we're really wanting only the entrepreneurs who take their business and targets super serious to apply. So if that's you, you think you got what it takes to level up your business, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com and apply. And we will see you on the other side.